You may have heard that connection on the drive of the rowing stroke is vitally important, but do you know exactly what great connection on the rowing machine entails? Let's talk about the three connection points on the rowing machine. One is the seat that I'm sitting on, one is the feet on the foot stretchers, and one is your hands on the handle. Now, the seat moves, the handle moves. The one fixed point on the rowing machine is the feet. This fixed point is what we press from and where we put all of our power into the rowing machine. When we drive the legs, when we lever the body back, when we squeeze the handle to the body, all of that pressure is being pressed into the foot plates. So our job is to figure out how to use our body to maximize the connection between the feet and the handle of the rowing machine. The resistance in the rowing machine is in the form of the handle, which is connected to the chain, which is connected to the flywheel, which uses wind resistance as the resistance factor that we are working against as we drive across the rowing stroke. Each stroke that we take, we are pressing against the resistance of the machine. Pressing and hanging, pressing and sending off. And you can hear each stroke, the fan accelerate as I press and send my body across the drive. What I'm working to do is to row in a way that maximizes my connection between the feet and the handle as I press and drive. In order to maximize my power and efficiency with each stroke that I take on the rowing machine, I need to make sure that my hips, my core, and my low back are strong, and that also I'm doing a good job of hanging off the handle through my lats. In order to maximize that connection and make sure that we're arriving at a point that's going to allow us to connect well at the front end of the rowing machine, we need to make sure from the back end of the stroke that we're establishing a closed position of 11 o'clock, tilted from the hips and the pelvis, tilting the pelvis forward. Another way to think about it is, where is my belly button? At the finish of the rowing stroke, my belly button is behind my hips. When I'm setting up to take the catch, my belly button is in front of my hips. I hold that position forward. Now I'm sitting up, sitting forward, strong in the low back, able to take the catch. But that's only one part of the equation. Having a good pelvic tilt and a strong low back is important to be able to take the catch. But we have to match it with a strong core. Our abs have to be strong and ready to take the load as we press out of the front end. If, as we started with, there's no connection at all, then we're going to shoot the slide each and every stroke. We're going to come forward, shoot that slide, and then open. If, on the other hand, the only area that is ready to go and connected is the low back, that can oftentimes result in a body opening off of the front end of the rowing stroke, which, instead of a strong position where we press with the legs first, then pry open the body and arms, we rock out of the front end. And so we immediately open the back even before the legs start to press. And we've got an undue amount of stress on our low back initially out of the front end of the stroke. So what we're looking for is being in that best position, sitting up, sitting forward, pelvis tilted forward, low back strong, but also our abs in a ready position to be able to take pressure at the front end of the stroke. So when we come in and we connect and we feel connection between the feet and handle, we should feel it not only in the low back, but we should also feel it in the abs. And if we do so, that allows us to be stable as we initially push out of the front end. So there's a stability where the seat and handle move together out of the front end before we open the back and take the stroke. So really pay attention to achieving a good body angle off of the finish of the rowing stroke, and then make sure that you feel your hips, low back, and abs are ready to take that catch and be able to hang off that handle as you initially press out of the front end and before you start to bring in the body and arms to the stroke. But good connection in rowing is not just about your hips, your abs, and your low back. It's also about your lats. As we've talked about in other videos, rowing takes place from the knees to the armpit. Nothing above the shoulder, nothing below the knee is really going to help you move the rowing machine effectively. Pointing your toes is not going to help. Flexing your calves is not going to help. Clawing with your toes and flexing your feet is not going to help you move, nor is anything that's happening on the top of the shoulder, in front of the shoulder, up into the neck, into your traps. None of that is going to help in this motion across the horizontal plane in rowing. We want to be able to match good pelvic positioning, strong core, strong low back, with good connection through the lats into the handle. The arms at the front end of the rowing stroke, they're just cables. They're out there, they're just hanging long. And so we want to be in a good position where we can just hang off that handle. We're not trying to grab at the front end and propel right out of the front end. We're looking to hang. And so that hang is the lats through the arms into the handle. And so your lats, they're going to come up, they're going to connect right into your armpit. When you're really rowing well, you're going to feel this connection, and you're going to feel that hang underneath the armpit, down through the lats, down through the side of your body, into your hips, into your core, into your low back. So one of the keys in rowing, we always talk about, we want to create length in rowing. And so we do want to be in a position whereby the arms are outstretched, but we want to make sure that we're not in a position where the arms are outstretched to a point that your shoulders start to come up to the ears. So what do I mean by that? Well, let's start with the opposite extreme. The opposite extreme is that we have good body positioning forward, but we've locked the shoulders back and together. So my shoulder blades are tight and back together. And that's not really allowing a comfortable position, nor is it allowing enough reach out of the front end. At the same time, if I reach forward and I reach too much, you'll see I start to round the upper body, and you'll also see that my shoulders start to come up towards my ears, and I start to lose connection in my lats. So when it comes to good reach in the upper body, good extension with the arms, we are not looking for this where we are locked down, and we're not looking for this where we're rounded out and allowing the shoulders to come up to the ears. Instead, what we're looking for is allowing our shoulder blades to come apart, allowing the arms to reach forward as long as we don't lose connection with our lats. So again, it's not here, it's relaxed and forward as far as we can go before losing connection with the lats, which allows us to come in nice and long, hang, and then squeeze back. And because we've allowed our shoulder blades to separate, we now get to use the entirety of that motion, the shoulder blades coming through at the finish of the stroke, to aid our finish. So we can reach forward as long as the shoulders stay low. Now, one of the ways to ensure that the shoulders will not be coming up to the ears is a focus on our sternum. If we're forward and we're reaching and we reach too far, a combination of the shoulders rising to the ear and the sternum dropping onto the lungs and dropping down and pressing down on the rib cage is a result. That's when we know we've gone too far. If, on the other hand, we're sitting forward in a good solid position and we continue to reach, but we don't let our sternum drop, then we can be comfortable in the idea that the shoulders are going to stay low in socket, they're going to stay connected to the lats, and we're going to be able to press really nice and strong out of the front end of the stroke. So I'm going to row along. This is too little. You can see my handles not quite getting into the front end of the rowing stroke. I have my shoulder blades back together. Feels pretty uncomfortable. This is too much. You'll see I'm looking like Superman, allowing those shoulders to rise up to the ears. And this is just right. Long, loose arms, good connection through the lats. Pelvis tilted forward, connected in the low back, connected in the abs. By focusing on a good body angle forward after the finish of the rowing stroke and before the knees rise up, we're setting ourselves up well in terms of tilting the pelvis forward, being in a great position there, strong in the low back, abs are ready to connect. From there, it's about allowing those arms to stay forward as long as they don't rise up, keeping the lat connected, keeping the arms relaxed, feeling that that sternum is up and forward as we come through into the rowing stroke. In your next workout, pay attention to body positioning, pay attention to upper body positioning and how it's affecting your connection through the front end of the rowing stroke. If you found this video useful, please like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and know there will be more rowing content coming to you soon.